Well, how do there, chums? I doff my cap to thee. This is another episode of Jett to the Far Shore, and this is Chapter 2, Deploy. Says here it's going to take 2 hours. Don't you worry, I'm going to cut out all the best bits of Chapter 2 and hopefully keep it under the half-hour mark so you can watch it in your lunch break or a coffee break or whatever. So here we go, let's push on into the actual mission.
Osho passion deon, Sean began kagoen. Orla, Sean despish vahim bin source placi. Doar, is oldentil, Jeffas kasosi sago. Gaov, Misha delagar.
Right, so now it feels a little bit more sci-fi, doesn't it? You know, you get to see them all floating around inside their mothership, and then we're heading down to the planet, and we're the first to touch flora on this new alien world. You can see we're burning up in the atmosphere. I like the swapping of the actual outside of cockpit, inside the cockpit, and there's flashbacks of Maya seeing her family and things, so it's again set in the mood. You're going out on this mission and you're up against it, and everything you've left behind and the sacrifice you've made, it's all building up to what's on this planet, and now we're heading down to the planet, and yet you get hit by a storm, you get knocked off course, well away from where you need to be, like 90k mile units or whatever it is away, and you end up in this stormy sort of ocean. And yes, your actual engines, your scramjets to go faster, completely knackered. And you've got to sort of set foot on some sort of shore to try and fix your scramjet engines, because at the moment we cannot move fast at all. We're getting hit by these waves, we're getting battered about all over the place. You can see there's all smoke coming out of my actual ship. It's almost like you're failing the mission right away, and you're thinking, shite, I've got the hopes and dreams of not only the people on my shoulders, but my whole history. The whole planet history is resting upon this mission being successful. So yeah, we're heading over on this rocks, and at this point you actually get out of the ship. Now in the trailer it said from one moment you're flying around in the ship and then your boots on the ground. I figured that once you actually got on land you could land wherever you wanted and get out your ship and take a little walk around, a bit like maybe No Man's Sky. No, there are set places where you get out of your ship, and then there's mini cutscenes, and there's only small areas where you can traverse on foot. It's very scripted, very linear, and part of the story, and I'd imagine every single player that plays this does exactly the same thing, and the actual story plays out exactly the same way. There is no real sort of procedural generation and making this game your own and doing your own thing. It's very linear. Do this, do that, go to A, go to B, etc. We fix our scramjets and we're off, and we actually find this wisp creature. The only one I encounter on this whole freaking planet, by the way. And yeah, you can follow this wisp creature, and you're hitting up different bits of light, and you're going a little bit faster every time you hit the light. This, to me, feels very much like something like Pilot Wings or some sort of mobile game. And you've got the controls in the bottom left and right corners of the screen. It nearly looks like a mobile game at this point. I mean, this isn't a review. This is my playthrough and how I feel about the game as I'm playing it. I will do a proper review and give this a score, but at the same time as I'm playing through, I'm telling you how I feel about this game and how my feelings about this game evolve as I'm playing, because I'm very much on the fence with this title. The mood setting and the ambience is freaking on point, and the story seems to be gripping enough to keep me interested. Episode 1, I was well into the story. Episode 2, I mean, touching down on the planet and all that, great, but as soon as I got here, it felt very anticlimactic, you know? So I really don't know what's going on at this stage, and I don't know where there's... And I'm following freaking flashing lights, basically, and I'm given 20 minutes to explore. Now, I love exploration games, but I would say that the actual exploration of this seems to be fairly repetitive. So you have to go over, you can use the left D-pad to select your scanner, so you can scan, or you can use your right D-pad to then change your equipment on the square button to a grappling hook. So you scan stuff, and sometimes you can grapple it. If you grapple it and pull it in, you can then launch it, and it pops, and pollen comes out. And sometimes it would affect different wildlife in different ways, or you can fire it into a little pool and it might do something different in the pool. it almost feels like you're playing soccer with some of the stuff, and it doesn't feel like you're controlling a ship a lot of the time. And the whole activating your scramjets and deactivating your scramjets seems a little bit finicky. Sometimes you're trying to get away from something, so you go to enable your scramjets and you hold it down and it feels like it turns it on and then turns it straight back off again. You're like, no, quick. And yeah, for a relaxing game, some of the controls are a little bit cacky. It would be nice if there was a simple button press to enable your scramjets on and off, a toggle switch of some kind. But yeah, or even just R1 or something, But no, it's a bit weird having to hold down, or to turn off your scramjets, you just tap it once. To turn them on, you have to hold it down. And a lot of the time, you want your scramjets to come on straight away so you can get the fudge away. But no, it's not like that. And when you're scanning these creatures, you can see up in the top right-hand corner, there's a little mini, tiny hologram of the creature. Then a shed load of text, nice big text. It'd be nice to have a bigger hologram of what you've actually scanned, so you can actually tell what the fudge it is. I mean, what's that? What have I scanned? I don't know what that is. It says Fissia, but what is the hologram of? I can't tell. Now there's quite a lot of flora on here. There's some that when you hit it lights up and it lights up part of the planet. It feels like Flower, the old PlayStation game of Flower. It feels a bit like that. This has got so many sort of nuances on it that it feels like a lot of little games, a lot of relaxing games like Journey, Abzu, Flower, all sort of stitched and melded together into this one sort of medley of beauty. And it's very artistic. It really is. There's moments and you're like, wow, that's really, really pretty. And then there's other bits and you're just like, this is really freaking frustrating. Yes, what the fudge is going on? Why? And a lot of the time it tells you why down in the text. But because you're too busy concentrating on what's going up in the top corner, what you've got selected, what's going on the screen, and the beautiful visuals, that text, you completely miss it. And because it's in gibberish, you don't actually digest it or take it in. I didn't know these things were going to freaking blow me to shite. Yes, no, had no idea at all that was going to happen. They're enemies. Yeah, I guess them being big, red, shiny and angry was a big freaking giveaway, but I didn't know whether I had to collect them or take them somewhere or do something. So no, I had no idea. But there we go. Awesome. So it's an alien world, we're full of alien things, I suppose that's all part of the discovery. You're going to get stung by something on an alien world. I know if I go to another country without the freaking jabs that you get, I probably would die because I'm a little bit, oh, what's that? Ah! Yeah, that's me. And that's exactly how I'd be on this alien world. But there were glitches like this, where I actually went into the terrain at times. Or the bits where I get stuck in trees, which comes up a little bit later, hopefully in this footage, if I've edited stuff right. But anyway, this bit, I've got to follow this sort of blue sort of harmonic. There it is, across the screen now. Now, it does. You have to get there where it goes really, really, and it's sort of like on this nipply bit here. But then you see where it says pop on my controls, the X button. That will change in a bit to put down shelter. But you've got to be just in the right place for it to happen. You see, it just went to side roll there for a second as well. And there you go. Now it says I can put down shelter with square. Actually, it's square rather than X, sorry. And now I can put down the shelter. But it just felt really fiddly. And there wasn't much telling me what I needed to do. It said, equip the shelter tool. Well, this is the tool menu, the D-pad. But there's nothing on there for shelter. It just magically appears on square all of a sudden when you're in the right place. Which I found was a little bit tedious to actually work out what the fudge was going on. But in the end, I managed to crack it and I managed to move on. But I'd imagine there's people out there playing this on Chapter 2 going, what the actual fudge? Because if you miss that piece of text that goes across the screen, yes, you can press L1 at the top. If you press L1 at the top, it tells you what your mission brief is. But that one just said, rest in the shadows. I'd already done that. That was the previous freaking mission. So it was pretty darn freaking weird trying to work out what I had to do and how I had to do it. And I kind of just did that by sheer fluke. So I'd imagine there's people stuck there. If you are stuck there, stick it in the comments, let us know. Because it did scupper me for a bit, but through the power of editing, I cut out all the annoyance of me flying around the island for like half an hour. But there we go. Also, that bit, you've got two options over on the right, but then there was another one over the other side saying sleep. And you hit that, you know. Now you can go into your menu system and you can read about all your gear, and you can actually go through all your discoveries, the things that you've scanned, and you can see here it's a nicer big holographic projection, which is really quite cool. I like the fact that you can recap on all your discoveries, have a read of them, and learn about this alien world in more detail, and sit there and take a little read through this, and that really does help you, bring you into the immersion of the planet and the world. So I would suggest, if you've got time and you do like this game, you want to get vested in it, read through your actual discoveries and understand the world better and how it all sort of stitches together, because it does stitch together quite well. You know, one creature relies on another creature, and off of the flora it kind of all ties in. It almost feels organic and alive. This point I actually meet up with another Jett, which is quite cool, so you're not alone. And you can see there that I'm communicating down at the bottom, a little picture of the person appears. When I say little, it's freaking tiny again. It'd be nice if some of these things were slightly bigger. It does feel like a lot of this, it feels like it was programmed for a mobile phone game. I'm going to say it again, but it does. Or an iPad or something, you know. But yeah, now I'm being chased by these freaking moth creatures, and it says get yourself out of here nice and quick. So I do, but I end up getting stuck in the freaking trees, which is a bit weird, and I'm jumping all over the place, smashing against things. This is where I'm trying to turn my scramjets on and off again, and yeah, does it actually? No, I keep turning them back off, and then if you hit something, it automatically turns them off, so then you've got to turn them back on again. You end up hammering into something. This is where it's a bit jarring. When there's a sense of danger and you've got to get away, it'd be nice to have a single button toggle rather than this whole triangle malarkey bullshit. Yeah. But anyway, here you go. I'm jumping across the top of trees now, and that seems to be the way to get away. Not through the trees, not through it like a maze. Jump over the freaking top of the things. Yeah, it works a lot better. And we've now encountered this giant alien ship. Really cool. Now, although I've gone through my catalogue to read through what all this life is on this, although they call these things the chronos or something weird like that, it doesn't give it a massive write-up about what these things are, but they seem to be indigenous to this planet. If I arrived on an alien world and I saw something that big floating around, I'm thinking, yeah, shall we turn around and go back to our own planet and see if they sorted stuff out down there? Because this one's got freaking aliens on it that are freaking huge and probably going to eat us alive or worse. You know what I mean? So yeah, there is that. And you know, I'm only on chapter 2. Maybe that might happen. Maybe we might just go back home. That'd be a good twist, wouldn't it? Yeah, saw that alien planet. Yeah, but yeah, here we are. I just touched down. I just waited here, and I just read all the dialogue that come up and just waited till it pushed on the mission, rather than fly around and end up getting chased by more of their moth things or whatever they were. So yeah, pretty good. I do like elements of this game where you can make little nuancy type choices like that. But here you go. Now I'm flying over to the next mission marker, and I have to get more of these moth creatures after me. Here they come now, they're after me. And now I can fly all the way through these, and I'm hitting up all those little lights like pilot wings and going nice and fast. Then I have to pop these little sort of, I don't know, fungi looking things to pop out some pollen. Then the moths go after that rather than me. Then I have to fly over, rinse and repeat, do that a couple of times, because at the moment there's a drop ship coming down, and we need to pull all those little meanie moths away from that drop ship so it can land safely. But then not only after you get rid of the moths, the big freaking mothership gets interested in that dropship that's coming down. And that dropship isn't just another little pod like you guys. No, this is a sort of like a command post for your operations. So this is integral to your mission of you becoming part and inhabitants of this planet. So you can see here it's coming down at the moment, and that big sort of creature is firing out some sort of sonic sound wave at it. So now we have to go and distract this big creature by upsetting some of the wildlife that emit a sort of sound that's going to attract its attention, or something like that. Or at least that's what I managed to read on the text that's coming up on the screen, telling you what you've got to do. I'm going to say it again. You're so distracted by everything that around you that you catch snippets of it. Like, what was that? Oh, fudge. I think I've got to do this, or I think I've got to do that. And when you press L1 at the top, it usually gives you a rough idea of what you've got to do. But it's usually the things that you've just done. Oh, that's the enemy type. It's called Kolos. It's Kolos. Kolos. So yeah, Yeah, that's what we've named them by the looks of things. But here we go. Now I've attracted its attention. I've managed to get it to go away. And now my dropship is actually dropping. And now I'm getting used to the controls and skimming across the top of the trees. And I'm managing to get up some speed. And it's starting to feel quite good. The haptic feedback feels on point. But when you slow it down and you're trying to do the little nuancy bits. And you've got to try and enable your scramjets. There's still that finicky mechanics that just need a bit more polish, a little bit more thought in there, because although it's arcadey, it's not arcadey enough that it feels responsive in a super responsive sort of way. It feels that you're fighting against the game rather than playing the game at times, or at least it does for me. But yeah, so far I'm kind of enjoying it because I love the story, I love the mood, I like the graphics, I like the art, I love the music. The music score is brilliant. But yeah, am I actually enjoying it? Am I raring to get back in and play? I want to see where this story goes and how it goes for Maya and her crew, and whether they can actually call this chaosy type world home. I mean, I think they were better off where they were, to be fair. They had horses there. Yeah. Well, they've got antelope things here, but they've got some weird gnarly ass stuff going on as well, and things that want to eat them. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe they might have done better to try and go green on the freaking planet they're on and reverse the damage they've done, rather than do all of this here, because who knows, they're probably just going to repeat the same mistakes by the looks of things. I mean, we're invading this planet essentially, although that we're not sort of killing stuff. You know, there's no combat in this, it's discovery. But again, we're still interlopers on this world, aren't we? And yeah, it looks like there's a lot of smoke coming up over there. I don't know what, I have no idea whether they're not drilling for oil, are they? I have no idea. Anyway, let's go on in. It's quite sort of steampunk-esque. It almost looks like you're going into a submarine. Again, I like the aesthetics. I like the actual general feel of this. Now, you go in, I have sped up and cut out some of the footage in here because it goes on for freaking ages. You end up sitting down by a table and having a lovely bowl of soup while chatting to some lady with blue sort of crop top hair that's super old. You would have thought they would have sent the youngest and fittest of the actual race to procreate and fill out this world. No, they've sent a load of people with grey hair that are really aged, that look like they're all going to freaking fall over dead anytime soon. So it makes you wonder what the actual plan is when it comes to repopulating this planet, when they've sent a whole load of OAPs up into space. And I've got nothing against old people, but I'm fairly sure that most races, they would send the youngest and the fittest. There you go, there's a bowl of soup prepared by Grandma. Yeah, so you don't see many youngsters in this, apart from you and your co-pilot and maybe a couple of others, but most of them are middle-aged to, you know, pretty much over the hill. I have no idea what the plan is there. We will see. This is chapter 2, so hopefully chapter 3 is going to put out exactly what the plan is for actually successful mission drive, you know. So here we go. I'm going to sleep. Now, I am a mystic, and what I was told is you get to see May's dreams. Now, when you go into the dream world, it sort of flashes up a little bit. You get to see this volcano, and there's like a little drawing that flashes up. And you get this button that says stir. Now, stir to me is to enter into a lucid state. But every time that I've pressed stir, it just wakes us straight up. You don't have any dream, and I don't know whether I've missed a freaking cutscene or whether I should have just sat there for half an hour to see if something actually happens. So yeah, maybe I've missed something there. Maybe I might have to play all the way through to see that. I don't know whether there's a menu to actually find it, and I haven't found anything in the menus yet. But our next mission is investigate. I'll see you for that. Goodbye, goodbye, and goodbye again. Well, thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see, please hit a like and a subscribe, and I'd like to say a massive great big thank you to all of my backers over on Patreon and over on YouTube membership. Thanking you, backers! And if you want to support this channel, just don't skip the adverts. That throws revenue down my avenue. Or yeah, just stay with Captain Steve that little bit longer and hit something on this screen. There's merch here now too.